I am joined today by Zac Fierce, who is the developer, or one of the developers, of Bombfest. Zac, thank you for taking some time to talk with us today and let us pick your brain a little bit about this wicked fun game we saw at PAX East.
Thank you for having me, Jacob. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Before we get going, before I start asking you some technical questions and picking your brain about kind of the background of this game, why don't you give us a pitch for people that don't know what Bombfest is? What is it? Why should they be excited?
All right, so Bombfest is basically sumo wrestling with explosives. It's an award-winning party game for you and up to three friends. You run around as little wooden toys, you throw bombs, and you try and push other people out of the ring.
Night, short and sweet, and with a hook like that, how could you not be intrigued? So when I saw the game and talked to you at PAX East, one of the reasons I wanted to follow up and talk to you is because of the story of kind of your inspiration for this game. So maybe you could kind of impart what inspired you to make this game to people listening.
Sure. So Bombfest stems mostly from this primal kind of desire to destroy things. I attribute a lot to being back in kindergarten and seeing my friends build up towers of blocks. And of course, what you want to do is walk over and punch that thing down.
Obviously, of course.
However, that's not a great way to make friends.
Mm.
So we decided we would use, as we grew up, to design a system that would build the towers for you, would knock them over, and wouldn't be upset when you did so.
That's a great solution to a problem people probably didn't realize they had. So in the game, one of the things that kind of stood out most to me as really kind of an innovative thing you guys have done in putting this game together is what happens when you die. Because in party games like this, in four-player, kind of deathmatch kind of scenarios, so often one person will get knocked out pretty early, and then they're just kind of sitting there. Not so in Bombfest. You actually turn into a bomb when you die and can influence the battle that way. Where did this idea come from, and how early did it kind of gestate in development?
Let's see. So definitely the inspiration was, I know there's a number of games that do a technique like this. So a lot of people cite Bomberman, a lot of people cite Mario Kart, some of the old battle modes where you come back as a bomb. None of those were in mind when this came about. I was thinking of Smash Bros. When my friends, who are far better than me, would play stock. I'd get my three stocks eliminated first, and I'd have to sit there and wait.
Yeah.
And that's not very fun.
No, it's not.
But, I deserve to sit out because I wasn't good, but I still want to be able to play and play with them. So I would say maybe 2 years ago. I have to double check that date, but we added a feature where normally your little wooden character walking along, if you get knocked out early, your character is out, but you'll come back as a controllable bomb. You hit the ground, you can roll around, people can pick you up and throw you, and you can press a button to detonate very quickly to try and earn some extra points or create chain reactions. That way you're still a part of the game, you can still get points, and you don't have to sit out and wait while your friends battle it out.
I thought that was a excellent solution to that problem when I was playing it at PAX East. The other thing I'd like to ask developers of multiplayer games specifically is kind of about the whole challenges and hurdles they run into in designing a game for a group of people. So what were there? Were there challenges in I guess balance, maybe not exactly the right word, but an apt word in terms of towers and knocking things over? What were some of those that you ran into when you were developing?
So I think balance might actually be a fairer word than I imagined. Our biggest challenge would have to be the controls themselves. So we built with just general modern console controllers in mind. I use a 360 controller here for my own development. And we wanted your character to have an array of abilities. You want to be able to pick up bombs, you want to be able to throw them, you want to be able to set them down, you want to be able to charge them up and throw them farther. You want to do all these sorts of different actions. We want you to be able to jump and climb up things and roll around. Initially, we had 3-button controls and 2 sticks. So you'd need to figure out how all these worked and use them all to have the full skill set. What we realized early on in testing is a lot of people weren't able to pick them up quickly. One, because the game didn't describe them very well at the time. And two, even when I described them, it was hard for players to grasp how to use them in a very short amount of time. For Bombfest, our matches go less than 5 minutes. So we want people to be able to hop in, play one, get a good feel for the game, and feel like they contributed. So a large part of our kind of refining of the game was narrowing these controls down until it was something that was very easy to pick up, very easy to play with, so that anyone of any age or level of sobriety can play the game easily and have fun. So we ended up cutting down both one of the sticks. We're now just a one-stick game, and only one button you need to really enjoy Bombfest. You no longer need to climb things. You can no longer set bombs down or charge them up. But the game is much simpler in that way and allows people to develop strategies and tactics that rely on simpler controls with a deeper kind of thought given to the layout of bombs and the environment and player positioning. And we think that while we've limited the kind of depth of controls, we have not limited the depth of gameplay. So we found a large benefit to really simplify things. And not only in just how many buttons or how many sticks, but how you use them. Before, you were able to click sticks, you were able to use one button to pick things up, a different one to throw, or the same one to set things down. Now, one button pick up, one to throw. There's no pressing and holding required. You can tap to do just about everything that you want to do. You can hold the jump button to do some extra movements, but they really don't add to gameplay. And this is great for accessibility reasons. For some gamers out there, holding buttons or doing certain combinations are not as easy. So we decided we'd lean into something that was very accessible for more players to enjoy the game.
That's a fantastic resolution to that kind of track of thinking. I imagine that's also going to be a real boon for showing a game like at an event like PAX East. How is your experience in showing off a game like Bombfest at conventions?
It's been a lot of fun. We almost said it's been a blast, but I swore off using any bomb puns for describing the game. We recently presented at PAX East. That's where we ran into you.
Yeah.
We got to present a little bit at GDC and PAX South earlier this year, and it's definitely benefited us. We can sit down and I don't even have to tell people how to play anymore. They just get going, and that's an incredible treat to watch. And we think it definitely benefits the experience. But PAX East, for example, we were at the Indie Mega booth, which was an incredible blessing. We had between 4 and 20 people at our booth at any point in time. It was incredible to see. I don't expect that, but people seemed to really enjoy the game and enjoyed watching the game, which in some ways is its own little victory.
Yeah, it was a fantastic game to watch and to play. I guess I should mention at this point, Bombfest is out. So if any of the footage you're seeing in the background, any of what we're talking about sounds good, we'll have links in the description to this video. You can get it on Steam, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Steam is for Mac and Linux that just came out recently. So it's available pretty much any way you could want it. So moving from talking about Bombfest, I'd love to know about your story. How did you get involved in indie game development? What drew you to be making games?
Sure. So I went to the University of Akron and I studied computer science and entrepreneurship. Since I was little, I should probably start back there. I've been making games. I used to make games in paper. I'd cut them out and lay them all around the house. I used to plan out obstacle courses for my friends to run through. And it was my passion to create experiences to share with others. I got invested in StarCraft's World Editor and Team Fortress 2's Hammer level editor, and XNA for making games from scratch in Windows. From there, I moved into Unity, and I've been working in that ever since. I've got experience in Unreal and a few other engines like Construct, and I've just had a passion for making things. Right out of college, actually, my sophomore year of college, I felt called to make games. I didn't know what that meant, but I decided, well, better start making stuff. So
better heed that call.
Right. And out of college, we started working on a couple of projects. I made a non-Euclidean bullet hell as my first kind of commercial attempt, which I just remade last week. You can play it on my Itch.io, which you can go check out if you want.
We'll have a link.
And after that came a game called Well Wishes, a cooperative medieval kind of defense game that we showed off at GDEX, a conference in Columbus, not too far from here. And it was pretty well received. It won the contest and won us some free licenses to Unity. And their biggest feedback was, we really love the bomb ability. You throw a bomb, the enemies fly everywhere. So I went home and deleted everything except the bombs. And Bombfest was born. Yeah, I mean, you got to lean into it, right?
Right?
If why not? Yeah, so that's kind of a history in short.
Cool. I always like to find out what were kind of like the inspirational games that people played. So obviously, you said you've been making games for a long time in all sorts of different mediums, but what were some of the like video games that stood out to you and really kind of appealed to your sense of, oh, this is the medium I want to make games in?
Let's see. I've I've clocked in over 1,000 hours of Team Fortress 2.
Whew.
So class-based and abilities and that sort of stuff that's been picking up in games like Overwatch has really been big on my mind. I really enjoy top-down isometric games
Hmm.
like the Legend of Zelda series. Minish Cap is my favorite. Don't care much for Ocarina, which might make some people upset,
Oh,
but
that's gonna rile some feathers.
uh-oh. I love the Capcom Zeldas, guys. Um, and I love local multiplayer party games. So Gang Beasts is like
Oh,
an all-time favorite. When I don't drink myself, but when we've got friends over and there's been a few drinks and we're all tired and loopy, nothing like playing Gang Beasts because even though that game has 20 different controls, you're flailing around and your guys are doing like goofy doughboy things on the screen,
it's
and it's
fantastic.
just a good time.
It's a super
So.
great time. Gangbase is always a good one to go to.
Hmm.
Final question we ask every developer that we talk to. What other indie projects have captured your eyes as a developer? Be they in the works, be they released, whatever. Use it as an opportunity to shout out some other projects in the indie scene that have caught your eye.
Well, I've got some friends who are working a game called Mage Quit right
Ah,
now. Mage Quit is a wonderful local and online multiplayer game with wizards. And what I enjoy about it is the way the game is set up. You have a bunch of spells at your disposal, but you gain one of them at a time each round. And it tells you get to choose your spell. It tells you what button to use to play it. A round plays out. Next round, now press the B button for this spell. It's magic because not only does this play into make every match different, it teaches you the game as it goes, which is a brilliant way to fit a tutorial into a game that you may not notice if you're not looking closely. So Mage Quit's definitely high on my list, and I'm good friends with the developers, so
it's a
bit of bias there.
really cool system for kind of gradually teaching things and that kind of draft mechanic in it where the people that lose the first round get first pick of the spells. It's a whole nother level of like, oh, do I want to throw the first round to get a good spell in the second round? It gets really clever. I love Mage
Mm.
Quit.
Oh my. And let's see, I got to play a game called Twin Cop at
Oh,
GDC this year um, by a new friend of mine. It's a game where it's a cooperative cop shooter game where one of you is the left half of the cop and the other you is the right half of the cop. So one of you holds the left hand and swings the gun around, the other one swings another gun around, and when you have to walk together at the same time and you have to drive a car, one of you has the left tires, one of you has the right tires. It's an incredible little experience. Even the dialogue, when the dialogue comes up, one of you chooses the first half of the sentence and the other chooses the last half,
oh my word.
and 90% of the time it doesn't make sense and people aren't afraid to comment on that as you're playing.
We've had other people suggest us looking at Twin Cop, so I think it's officially on the list.
And let's see, Cosmos Quick Stop was another game I played
Oh,
at
I ran
PAX
into
East.
Cosmos last PAX, and it's a really great game.
It combines kind of the best of cook, serve, delicious
Mm.
and of overcooked at the same time. So two cooking based games created this gas station attendant game. And it's I love the experience of running around and managing things. And it's a lot like my day job, but if I mess up in Cosmos Quick Stop, I don't have to worry about losing customers or money.
There you go. Awesome. Well, those are three great suggestions for us to follow up with. Zac Fierce, thank you for taking the time to talk to us a little bit about Bombfest and your background as a developer. As we said, it's out now. Look down in the description and find it on whatever platform you prefer.
Thank you very much.